Well, welcome to Age Friendly on Shaw Spotlight. We're really happy to have you join us this month of June. And of course, June, thinking about it, is Seniors Month right across the province of Ontario. And it's also Pride Month. And so tonight we're going to be talking, or today we're going to be talking about the fact that within Seniors Month, and the theme for this month is stay active, connected, and safe. And that really goes into pride and the fact of diversification in our community and what we're doing. I have two guests today, and we're going to be talking to Donna Nagy and Michael Sobotam, and we're going to be talking about some of the things that are related to pride, particularly from the senior perspective. And I think it's important, we are, of course, age-friendly. And how can we stay active, connected, and safe within Pride and within Senior Month? So, Michael, I'll start with you. The fact is, we have these long initials. I have to read it before we get started because I can never say it. I want people to know that this is not something that's really easy for me. It's LGBTQ2S+. Like I have to get it so that I could really understand what that means. But what does Pride mean to you and all those initials?
Pride. Pride is a sense of comfort in yourself, in myself. Pride is a willingness to share that. Mm-hmm. Pride is, Rebecca, growing up as a young boy in a small rural town, about 1,000 people, I didn't know there was anybody else that had feelings like I was. And so what I did, because I'm older now, I'm talking about 16 and more years ago, what I did was suppress it and not let anybody know and pretend that you're not that thing. The words that we used then weren't lesbian or gay or bisexual. They were queer and faggot and nasty things. And they were ugly things, and they were epithets, and they were thrown at you like a slap as opposed to anything to be proud about. So jumping forward all those decades today, it's about being comfortable in who you are, and most importantly, being visible and sharing it so that other people know. If you happen to be GLBTQ2S+, if you happen to be gay or lesbian, you're not alone. There are many of us throughout society, of all ages and ethnicities, immigrants that come to our beautiful and wonderful city, of all sexual orientations, can share and feel good about pride.
Right. Don, when we talk about pride for you, you were later, as an individual, coming out, as the saying goes. What does that mean for you now, as an older adult?
I missed all the fun stuff. I didn't come out till after I was 21. Mm-hmm. Born and raised in a Roman Catholic family, definitely not part of the norm. I couldn't figure out why. I couldn't really land a male partner that I liked. But as soon as I found that girl that I liked, oh man, I couldn't wait to get on the street. I couldn't wait to tell everybody I was gay. And it wasn't until the seasoned LGBTQ folks said, like, hold it, Donna, you're just go easy on this. But now, my partner, Thelma, my wife, she is telling me all about what happened before I came out. And not that I wanted to be part of it, but to be brought up through the history part so that I have some basis. Right now, I just came out with the fun stuff. These folks here did all the hard work and got us out there so that I could be safe, and I thank you.
What's it like being gay, queer, all these initials in Thunder Bay?
You know what? I don't think about myself as all those initials. I think of myself as a gay man.
Okay.
I respect and I honor all those initials because they're added to be inclusive of the broader and diverse community. I guess when in earlier generations, when you would think about gay people, you would think about them in one way. You didn't think about inside that range of what homosexual means. There are trans people, there are bisexual people, there are two-spirited people, which is specific to indigenous populations. There are lesbians who are gay women. And so early on, when we just called ourselves gay, it didn't have the same resonance that all of these letters do today. And individuals who fit each of those letters feel identified and included in all of those letters. So I'm a gay man, and I'm completely comfortable about owning that I am a gay man and a gay person, and I feel it in a broader sense that it's inclusive of a diverse community. The symbol for pride, LGBTQ plus 2S, is the rainbow, and in particular the rainbow flag. And the initial rainbow flag had 8 stripes, and each of them stand for something. It's 2 more than the usual. The rainbow flag that you see today has 6 stripes. The original one was designed by Gilbert Godfrey in San Francisco, and it had 8 stripes. The 2 that are missing are 2 of my favorite colors, fuchsia and chartreuse.
Oh, well, that's good to know. All right.
The bright, splashy colors, and flag makers eliminated them because they couldn't get fabric.
Oh,
So
all right.
it was easier to do it in that basic 6
Yes.
spectrum,
Yeah.
orange, red, blue, purple, green, yellow.
Well, there we are. So now we have the history of that. Donna, are you comfortable in Thunder Bay being gay? That's not an issue anymore, or are you feeling this is okay here?
I'm fine with it.
Yeah.
Maybe because I'm older. But also part of it is I do have a little bit of privilege because I am white. Not so much that I'm female, but that I am white. And being able to go out and meet people, I always did like the fact that you meet me and then you can judge me. Don't have somebody tell you, oh, a lesbian is coming in to see you. Don't
Right.
say that. Say Donna's coming in to see you. Okay, now we'll meet. Now you obviously you're going to have some questions. I'll answer them. Anything you want to ask me, I'll answer you. But to have them find out about me first, as
Yes.
opposed to one of the acronyms.
We'll stop for a moment, and we'll be back very shortly with Donna and Michael, and hope you'll join us. Well, welcome back, and here we are talking about Pride, and of course during Seniors Month, which is the month of June here in the community, as well as across the province of Ontario. Guests today are Donna Nagy and Michael Sobotan. We're here talking about the fact being Pride, and what's that mean, being gay, being queer, being part of a group that are a part of our community. Really, that's what it's all about. And so what happens if you're in isolated? We have so many seniors in our community. They're isolated. They don't get out. We got to change that. But right now they don't get out. And you say you were gay and or a lesbian and all the rest of it. How do you deal with that? How do you manage?
The first thing for me is being a senior is to own it and admit it. I don't struggle with oh, geez, I'm getting old and cranky and cranky. I am getting cranky. But it's great to be here. It's great to be able to have these conversations with you. And then to acknowledge that being a senior is very different in terms of the social spectrum and socializing, even in Thunder Bay. When you're young, you go out to bars, you go dating, you do all of those kinds of things, you go to movies, et cetera. And I think while those options are there, less of that happens once you become a senior. You may have children or grandchildren. They may or may not accept who you are. You may have had a partner that may no longer be with you. You may be alone. And those things change how you live and how you move around in the world. We have certain health care and residential challenges. I have two very, very good friends who are lesbian women that are really concerned and scared about when the time comes for them to move into seniors housing, will they be allowed to stay together as a couple? Can they share, for example, a bedroom, or will that be judged or in some way restricted? And so Donna and I have been working together with others at a research group out of Lakehead University that raises these questions and talks about these questions and is beginning to analyze and work with what do they mean in our community and how can we make recommendations to improve that, because that's part of the isolation for seniors who are gay or lesbian or any of those other letters in Thunder Bay.
Right. Donna, you've had, your partner unfortunately had some health problems, I know. And how do you manage with that? Is there anything special because you're a lesbian that in a hospital situation or in long-term care? Or?
It might be different for us because we are legally married. If you're not legally married, you may have some different issues because common law is not recognized. Like we could do a whole hour on that part, but if because we are legally married, each of us is able to make the decisions that have to be made. But it is terribly scary because neither one of us can do everything at that house. One of us does part, the other, and it's just what our preferences are, what we like to do. But if something happened to Thelma, then that would change my entire, like with anybody, either a heterosexual couple, if the husband or the wife died, the one left, that is a lot of burden, and it's really no different in our situation, but only because we're married.
Right. Was that a success story for people that are gay when Canada allowed that?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes,
Absolutely.
absolutely.
It really made a huge
Yes.
change then.
In the history, Rebecca, when AIDS first arrived in Thunder Bay, it was 1985. The very first person was identified with HIV, and he died alone in McKellar Hospital in Fort William, and not in a nice way. Food trays were left for him outside his door in the hallway. That was the beginning. So healthcare was judgmental, healthcare was challenging, and that caused the spark that brought several of us to form the very first AIDS committee in Thunder Bay. Then we vowed that no one who contracted that illness would ever be treated that way again in the city, and they weren't. We did a lot of education. We worked cooperatively with a lot of local physicians. My own personal physician at the time was more than willing to take on AIDS patients, but he said, I will only take one at a time. And if or when that person passes away, then I will accept another one, because they required so much care. And he made home visits. He did house calls. He would go see the individual if they were bedridden at home, whether it was with his family or with a partner. That was rare and incredibly supportive, and buoyed all of us up about the medical and healthcare system in Thunder Bay was changing rapidly and getting better and more supportive then.
And that has happened. What would you say, Donna, would be a couple of other highlights in a history of where we've come, where people didn't even want to talk about being gay, and now it's very open and we're people.
Do you mean just...
Yeah, just like some highlights that you can think of over the years. Anything particular?
I was really blessed with, I just came out and just said, this is who I am, this is where I am, and pretty much challenged anybody who even remotely, like I don't have any person like that, and that's where Michael comes in.
Well, Donna, no, talk to us about, you stepped up and were part of the renewal of Thunder Pride. there were gay organizations in the city that ebbed and flowed and disappeared, but Thunder Pride formed, and you joined that board of directors. And,
Yes.
and then whole weeks of activities were organized, and that was part of your doing.
And I thank
That was
you,
a
Michael.
highlight.
that
Yes.
was a highlight. I did form the Thunder Pride into a nonprofit organization.
There you go.
And that's what kind of started it. And the more volunteers that we could get, the better. And we did have a solid, jam-packed week back then.
Yeah.
And it started out with Rachel Micheline and Ellen Chambers at a
Whole
table
bunch.
saying,
Yeah.
let's do something. And that was our first march down,
Right.
I'm not even sure, probably
Right
down Red
Red
River
River
Road.
Yeah.
right down the
And
heart
that's
of the
what
city.
that's what started it. And from then to now, we have like a full month, and there's
Yeah.
the two organizations.
We're
that are-
going to talk a little bit about that in our next segment. So join us as we come back and talk about Age Friendly and Pride Month. Well, welcome back to Age Friendly, and here we are on Shaw Spotlight, and we're talking about Pride Month, and we're talking about Senior Month here in the month of June. And Donna Nagy and Michael Sobotam is my guest this evening. And today, I keep thinking of it as today, but some of these programs are actually aired in the morning, so we have to just say today. So this is where we're at. The point being, I'd like to know, what are we doing for Pride in the year of 2022? There's lots of activity. Donna, you related to the fact that you were one of the organizers way back when, but what happens now?
The program has grown and grown exponentially since Donna and others began organizing a week. There are now events that take place over almost the whole month of June, and they vary from a flag-raising ceremony at City Hall, a flag-raising ceremony at each of our school boards, both the public school board and the separate school board. There was an enormously moving sunrise ceremony to honor the beginning of June as Pride Month. It was organized in collaboration with Thunder Bay's Indigenous Friendship Center and Thunder Pride, and it was held in Waverly Park. I know because I got up at 5:30 in the morning. It was still dark. There was a dim glow on the horizon, and walked down to the park. And by the time the ceremony began, which included a smudging and drumming and singing by a wonderful elder named Marcel, there were at least several dozen of us in a circle in the park, greeting the sun, and the sun greeted us in a celebration of the launch of Pride Month. So it's one of the special things that happens in Pride. Donna, do you want to talk about others and perhaps mention the website?
Certainly. And always for more information, they're on Thunder Pride Association website and Rainbow Collective. Both of those websites have lots. Some things to keep in mind are like the drive-by drag. There's a lot of events that are happening throughout the entire month, and just it's a celebration of here we are, and we're still going,
Right.
and we still can do this, and we're not going away. And I think that's what the main essence of Pride Month is for us, for the LGBT. I think it means that we can, and I always get the comment from other folks, why do you have to celebrate Pride Month? And and this is a common comeback is, just be thankful you don't have to celebrate who you are. I have to celebrate who I am because not everybody knows who I am. Oops. And that's just my take. But we have there's people coming in from out of town. There's the street festival. There's so much, and then there's going to be a closing ceremony, something similar to the opening ceremony that just celebrates being one with nature, being who we are, and just we're glad to be here.
And to think of where you were, like 10 or 20 years ago,
Oh my.
and now where you are? Isn't this, it's got to feel really positive for you.
Yes.
One of the amazing things, Donna and Rebecca, is particularly the welcome and enrichment of Thunder Bay accepting drag queens and drag kings. In my day, as a young person, they were scorned. They were objects of repulsion. Why would a man want to dress up like a woman? And today they're celebrated and enjoyed. We have, not only do we have drive-by drag shows in Thunder Bay, where you can book drag queens to come and perform
Yes.
in your driveway and sing. We have evening events, and we have drag queens reading story time in the library. What a moving opening thing to acknowledge to kids that this is accepted.
Yes. I was going to say, what an opportunity for young children
Yeah.
to find acceptance by as who they are as
Yes,
well. That's
exactly.
really important.
Exactly.
Would you? And of course, these are anything that's identified is on the website, so they can just go to the website and from that be able to attend any event that's coming up and all the rest.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. And there's very few ticketed items.
Right,
A
okay.
lot of the stuff is free. They're like things that you will have to pay for. But
Right.
what I would like to make sure that the young people know is that we're old and we're still here.
Yeah.
And we're gay and we're still gay. It's not just a phase that we went through in our 20s and 30s. We're still like we were back then. So
And you are who you are.
exactly, and this is how we grew up.
And we know that these issues of being homosexual can still be troublesome and cause tension, particularly for youngsters and teens. They can be bullied and picked on because of it, and they are in schoolyards, etc. And so what Donna and I want to show people is that you can survive, that there is resilience, that you are not alone. And in those dark moments when you may think, you know, you've been bullied at school, you come home and you might be ashamed or you don't want to talk about it with your parents, there are resources in the community, there are people you can connect with, there are friends you can call, there are us that you can see that made it, that went through the decades of the troubles, and you can too. You can be okay and you can be who you are.
And you can be an older adult in Thunder Bay and be gay, be a lesbian, and feel like you are who you are.
Yeah,
And that is so comfortable.
Exactly.
And we need to be able to identify that a little bit more for people, that there are, you know, everybody has challenges, so to speak, in life, but this is not a challenge. This is who you are. I think it's a great thing. We need to have more of
And
that recognition.
The Pride Parade might be the largest manifestation of that because many of us, lesbian, gay, trans, bi, etc., all march, but so do allies.
Yeah.
I have many, many straight friends, couples bring their kids in strollers
And it just
and opens it up
super.
to this world
Yeah.
of support and comfort for a broader community.
And unfortunately, this year, because of the pandemic and restrictions,
Right.
we're unable to organize a pride this year.
But we've got a lot of other activities.
But yes, we've got a full month. One thing I want to just bring forward just a little bit, if we have time, is the isolation.
Yeah.
That the older, like we are lucky because we're comfortable where we are, but there's isolation for people who have lost their partners, who are going to go into seniors' home, that are trans going
Right.
into seniors' home.
And so
that
we
are
have to address those
still
issues.
looking for medical attention. So there's still a lot of help that we have to give these folks,
Right.
and still.
And we'll continue to do that.
Right on.
Donna and Michael, thank you very much for today. This is great. We've really enjoyed having you as my guest and informing the community of what it's like during Pride Month. I just would like to close our program today with one exercise moment with Linda DePiro, and I hope that you enjoy and get up and enjoy your one moment of exercise.
I'm Linda DePiro, and today's exercise focus is the importance of movement in our daily lives. So I look, motion is lotion. So let's start by just marching. Whether you're seated or standing, pump your arms, move your legs, moving sagittally forward, But most important, focus on backward movement. As we get older, our sense of balance starts to decrease, so it's really important to get the backward motion going. Working in a lateral line, a frontal plane, side to side motion, opening and closing your arms, being creative with your movement. And it's really important to wake up the fascia, the connective tissue, warm up the muscles, get the organs connecting, and pump up the heart rate. Going 2 steps to the right, 2 to the left, picking up your feet, always listening to your own body. Another little variation is your hamstring curl, bending at the knee, getting your navel going down and up to add a little bit more intensity into that movement. Going into a transverse plane, right? Rotating. You want to hit all those 3 planes of motion. And then 1, 2, 3, knee lift, adding rotation. Good, moving forward and back, lifting the thighs. One of the most important movement I find is stepping forward and back, going nowhere, like a little mambo, moving the hips up and down, side to side. The lower part of the back is fairly tight, so this will loosen it up. So move every day, even if it's short bouts, and do it more frequently. You eat, sleep, exercise. Motion is lotion, and that is the key for positive aging. Good job.